problem if your battery wasn't working? You did the workout.
I would bet that most people, if polled, would say 2 weeks notice is 100% acceptable and common practice.
You're absolutely right. The standard, the expectation is 2 weeks notice of resignation. And that's based on many employment agreements that incorporate that. More to be said about that in a second. But one thing employers and employees need to bear in mind, that if there's no contractual provision, an employee has an obligation to provide reasonable notice of resignation. Not 2 weeks, reasonable. So there are many circumstances where the notice of resignation period should be more than 2 weeks. You often hear on the employer side of failing to give the appropriate severance. That's called wrongful dismissal. But on the employee side for failing to give the appropriate notice of resignation, it's called wrongful resignation. So employees have an obligation to provide, once again, appropriate notice of resignation. But here's what's also interesting. We're in the great resignation period where everybody's resigning left, right, and center and moving on. And so what employers are now being caught by is, in essence, their own employment agreements, which typically provide for 2 weeks notice of resignation. And when it's inadequate, the employer's stuck. Okay, what are employers typically doing with employment agreements? They're often seeking to remedy those employment agreements by ensuring the termination provision is enforceable. But why not also fix the notice of resignation period? If you realize you need more, then now not only enhance the termination provision, but fix the notice of resignation provision. You have to provide legal consideration. That's the whole process for entering into a new employment agreement. But just bear in mind, don't just fix the termination provision, fix the notice of resignation provision, just like that actress.
Yeah.
And then,
oh, you can't see this one little hole right there, little hole.
and how can you, how can you repair it?
You can't. It's done. Gotta start over. Never get that day back. RIP Wednesday.